these ceilings go a little bit higher. All right, so been in Baltimore too long. Hey everyone, my name is Devin Moreno and I'm an investor here in Baltimore City area. I actually own 15 houses in the area and actually flipped 4 houses separate from that. This deal, I wanted to go into a breakdown. I'm doing a lot of deal breakdown videos where I tell you either my numbers, my design decisions, how I got it, or something about the deal that can help educate you on how to flip or buy deals within the Baltimore City area. Of course, many of these strategies are actually useful well outside of this area. You can use them all over the country, but of course, I just want you to know here's where I'm located. It's in Baltimore. So here you're going to see a mess of a house. You can see markings and all that. I'm going to explain it all, some why I'm doing what I'm doing. In this video, I'm going to go into more design decisions rather than my actual costs. The reason why is because I haven't actually paid for anything. I just bought the house. This is a wholesale deal, so a wholesaler sold this to me. Their assignment fee was $9 grand. Actually a pretty small one, honestly, in relativity to most of them. The wholesaler basically sold this to me for $130,000, and we're expecting ARVs quite above the about 290 range in this kind of house. So you're going to see in the pictures, the outside of this house is actually a massive house. This is actually a duplex set up as a triplex. So it technically only has 2 meters, but you could actually set it up with 3 meters. I'm going to show you how we're going to redesign this house a little bit as much as I can. Obviously, at this point, I don't have any after photos, but I will be doing a video in the future where I show you the before and after. You can see how the concept. So here we've just walked into the house, and you're going to see up the stairs is how you would get to the second unit, and down here is the first unit. All right, so we would have the kitchen. So obviously, you would have this door here that would be able to access it, this door here. I'm going to wipe this door out and just make it a wall, and I'm going to try to get rid of as much lead as possible. In this house, it's actually a rental. If you've seen a lot of my videos, you actually spend more money in a rental than you do a flip because you have to get rid of the things that are going to cause you problems down the road. Lead is one of them. Get rid of all things with lead paint. What often has the lead paint is the baseboards, the trims, the moldings, and these doors. All right, a lot of times have your lead paint. So you're going to see these markings here and all over here where I've told my demo crews, go ahead and wipe all this out. I want to get rid of as much lead paint as possible. No, I'm not wiping out walls. I can just put sheetrock right on top of this. I don't need to necessarily destroy them unless I'm going to rewire the house or do anything kind of fancy. So ultimately, I'm going to make it where you walk into the first unit. I'm going to show you what it would look like in there. So you're going to see in here is that start of that demo process. And in fact, there's some other rooms over there. We're not going to necessarily walk into them, but everything's pretty much a mess. We're going to be getting rid of the drop ceiling. So any drop ceiling, that's actually just to create smooth transitions across the drywall, so I can use joint compound and smooth it out. So otherwise than that, I'm pretty much leaving a lot of things, but little things like doors, I'm actually going to leave this bathroom in here. As you can see, it is a perfectly fine bathroom. And so little decisions like that, it can allow me to save money. But obviously in here, we're not keeping anything. So here's over here the kitchen. I'm going to wipe this whole thing out. I'm not saving it. In fact, you can't smell it, and you're probably glad because this is absolutely disgusting. So it smells like trash and garbage, but we are going to pretty much get rid of everything else. Now, some decisions I'm going to actually make, and here's some logistics you want to think about when you're doing a renovation. Remember that you have human beings renovating your house. Human beings have logistical needs that you're going to need. So one thing I'm going to go ahead and keep is this fridge. This fridge is actually working. Now, I'm going to keep it to the end of the renovation? No, we're going to throw it away. But it at least allows them to store their food. It's working just fine. I want to make sure I have power. Okay, they're going to need to operate their tools and a lot of sawzalls and such. They're going to need power to get through a lot of the harder stuff. Also, maybe a microwave that I might just bring in here. Probably not going to salvage one or anything like that. And then I might also make sure there's a toilet. Remember that toilet I just showed you? Well, how else are they going to go to the bathroom? If there is no toilet available, then I probably want to consider a porta potty or something of that nature. And then you can bring those in for about $100 a month. It's actually not that expensive at all. That's how much I pay for my porta potties. And they'll put them in the back of the house and whatever. You don't have to see it. So, and then they'll service them weekly on top of that. So we'll get rid of all of this. And then you're going to see here we actually have this very narrow walkway. So this walkway is, I don't know, 20 inches wide. It's super narrow, and the worst part is it turns. So if you look here, you can see where it starts to turn up the stairs, and then it's another walkway. Technically, that's how you would get to the second and third unit. Now, that second unit had that staircase I mentioned earlier, so we're going to keep that. That's how they're going to get in. This, though, I would almost abandon it. We're instead going to make a walkway out the back, and that'll allow them to access that third unit, and I will go ahead and continue renting this as a triplex, and I'm just not going to use this space. I'm actually going to knock down some walls for storage or whatever, but you'll see it in some before and after photos in a future video. So let's go ahead and show you the upstairs. I'm going to show you some of the design decisions I'm going to make. All right, so here we are walking up the stairs to the second unit, and once again, we're going to do a lot of similar demo that we talked about earlier. I'm going to wipe out these carpets. I'm going to end up wiping out the lead. Anywhere where you see these yellow markings, wipe it out. You're going to actually find that although it looks like a complete trash pit, if you've seen some of my renovations, you can make these things turn out pretty nice despite the fact that right now they're a little messy. Get rid of this drop ceiling. You're actually going to find when you remove drop ceiling, there's a lot of room up top to make these ceilings go a little bit higher. All right, so, well, there you go. Been in Baltimore too long. So as you can see, the ceilings go a lot higher once actually the drop ceiling is removed, and you can kind of give it more of a spacious feel rather than this kind of like enclosed feel. And so yeah, gonna go ahead and do that. Sheetrock over, get to see what's up there. You're gonna see actually they have a lot of the hookups we need for a kitchen. So we can easily get another kitchen up here, and the same hookups exist for the top floor. So here's how I'm going to renovate my numbers on all of this, because this gets a little bit complicated. All of these are like 3-bed, 1-bath sort of situation type of houses. So, I'm sorry, 3-bed, yeah, 1 bath, 1 kitchen. And, except for the first floor. The first floor is a 1-bed, 1-bath. Oftentimes, if you want to calculate your numbers on that, just calculate how much you would need for one of the units. Just one. Then multiply that by 3. So the kind of numbers I'm looking at into this house is, if for painting, probably maybe $1,200 to $1,500 a floor. So maybe $1,000 technically a floor if I really want to be honest. But for most people, maybe $1,200, $1,500. And then the kitchen's going to cost me like 10 grand. And that's because you're talking about appliances. Appliances are going to cost you like 500 each. So we're talking about a stove, a fridge. I'm going to probably install some granite countertops and such. I'm not going to install, because of the area, I'm not going to install central AC into this house. Why? Central AC would cost me $7,000 per unit. I can save $21,000 by not putting that in. And although it might drop my ARV, I might not see the same returns if I had added it in. And then you're also talking about the fact that I now no longer have those maintenance costs going forward. Okay, so now if I just install, like it has a boiler system existing, but if I go ahead and install like wall heater units or baseboard heater units, those are going to be much easier to repair, and then I can just give them window units. Now I don't have to worry about furnaces, blower motors, air conditioner units, line sets. All perfect for me. All right, so I'm keeping things cheap. Remember, this type of rental, I don't want it to look like this. This is disgusting. But at the same time, if I can keep it as maintenance free as possible, that's actually preferred. So basically, we're looking at 1 bathroom. That's easy enough. If I wanted to redo an entire bathroom, probably let's say about $8,000, somewhere in that range. And that's how much I'm looking at paying for what you would expect, tub or standing shower, all of that. We use the same tile, same flooring all throughout. In this, I'm actually putting vinyl flooring everywhere. Why? Because vinyl flooring is going to be the most resistant flooring to tenants, with them having dogs and pets, whatever, dropping things all over the place. That is going to be preferable for me. So I'm going to probably put vinyl flooring in. You're also going to note that if we look over here, we're going to see some bowing. Now, this is a little hard to notice, but on this floor, the floor is kind of bowing a little bit. Probably need to rip this up and get some of the flooring, the subfloor in there, and new subfloor anyway, just to make sure everything's okay. Joist, is that okay? So that's another reason we rip up all the ceilings, so that way I can see what's going on and why this house is bowing. So I'm going to go ahead and take you into the basement area, and you can start to see some of the other thoughts that I have. All right, so now here in the basement, a couple of things I'm looking for is the piping. I'm making sure I don't have any galvanized steel. A lot of it you're going to see is the PVC piping. Galvanized steel corrodes when connected to water, and that's kind of strange, but they used it for plumbing. So your gas lines are fine, obviously, but your actual plumbing lines, that's going to be an issue. Anything with water, it's going to just start breaking it down over time. I know, but that's how they made them. You're going to notice here these water heaters. I only have one good one, and that means that they connected the entire house to one water line. That means everyone shares the water. That's fine. I'll just have to work that out. I'm probably going to have to pay the water bill. Otherwise, you have all these other units. I might be able to separate it. I'll get my plumber to look at that. I've got 2 meters, 2 electric panels here. So that's actually excellent. More proof that it is a 2-unit. Note that you'd want to call your electric company, make sure they actually have billing for 2 units, make sure they didn't shut the gas off for longer than a year, because if they did, then they're going to have to do a whole bunch of other stuff just to get it started. And the second thing is call zoning. All right, so your zoning department, make sure it's actually zoned for the 2 units. Now, like I said, it's 2 units, but I can have the option to rent it as 3. Technically, that's a little bit tricky to do, because if I do that, then it might get a little bit conflicting with my rental license. But honestly, I already know how to make that work, so that's not really a big deal. But overall, yes, that is something you do want to consider, especially if you're newer and don't really know how to put in your paperwork regarding that. Other than that, some of the load structure in this is a little bit weak, and I would want to reinforce that before I get started. But yeah, you're looking at pretty much a basement, and all of this is going to get completely wiped out. And yeah, so that's it for necessarily the design decision part of it. So how much do I actually expect this to cost? Well, if we were talking about, I'm not going to do, so the demo is going to cost me $5,500 because it's basically 4 stories. Keep in mind, it's 3 stories up, 1 underground. So $5,500 to actually demo the entire place, haul away, get everything out of here, rip out all the lead, the doors, all that stuff. So that's the first initial cost. The flooring, I can expect to cost about $3.50 a square foot. That's for vinyl that includes labor. So $3.50 is generally for a $1.60 vinyl plus the underlayment plus $1 per square foot to install, maybe $1.50 in a lot of cases. Some people might charge $2, but I generally don't get that rate. The other thing is I'm not going to be putting in any carpet, but a lot of my appliances are going to be used. Because I get used appliances, you're talking about $400 to $500 an appliance. So that's generally the going rate. You can get them a little cheaper sometimes. I'm actually, for a washer and dryer, that's the only thing where I actually want to make it a common area washer and dryer. So I'm actually going to keep washers and dryers down here, and then using that staircase system that I explained before, I can make it where people go through the back and they can do their laundry down here in this basement area. So that will actually save me a ton of money doing it that way. It also keeps rents pretty cheap. This area is not necessarily a cheap area, but it would keep rents cheap for people, and that allows me the maximum amount of tenants, especially if the houses look nice. Outside of that, all the rest of it's pretty easy. You're talking about painting. It's going to cost me about $4,000 for this entire house-ish, $3,500 really, but I'm sure someone will see the size of the house and be like, oh, it's more money, even though it shouldn't be. But about $3,500 is what I'm going to expect. Don't have to replace any windows. Windows are huge because they're about $250 a window. So that's something I'm going to go around counting. Remember, I have this is not an end unit or anything. It's actually a single-family detached home, so there's a lot of windows to account for. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that. $8,000 per bathroom, so there you go. And I mean, like I said, I'm going to do a deal breakdown video where I actually go over the numbers step by step. So look out for that video, and you'll see how I'm analyzing all the numbers to make sure this house works. But this goes into those design decisions, a little bit of the cost. So if you have any questions, let me know, comment below, and I will talk to you all very soon.